Bada, bada boom, sold.
Huh?
Just sold my car on Carvana. Dropping it off and getting paid today.
Already?
What, you still haven't sold yours? You told me about it months ago.
Is
the offer good?
Oh, the offer's great.
Don't have another car yet?
I could trade it in for this car I love.
Come on, what are we waiting for?
You're right.
Let's go.
Whether you're looking to sell your car right now or just whenever feels right, go to Carvana.com and sell your car the convenient way. Terms and conditions apply.
This is a special primetime edition. Have faith. Let it begin, and Endless Hope Inc. presents a new series entitled Personal Testimonies. Here is your host, Angel Santana, and special co-host, Clinton Knapp.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another rendition of this amazing story, Personal Testimony. My name is Angel. With me, of course, cannot do it without him, Endless Hope Inc.'s own Clinton Knapp. Clinton, welcome back as we continue with your story. We're on episode 6. Can you believe it? How are you, my friend?
I'm wonderful. It's good to be back. No, I can't believe it. It's hard to believe. But you know what? It's only the beginning.
I know, and people don't know this, but we took a week off because I was so crazy and things were going on, but we just picked up right where we left off. So I don't want to make anybody wait any further. The last time you heard this episode, we left off with the following. Clinton was being told about things that were coming up as far as rehabilitation, and his last words were they were not acceptable to him. I'll let him go back a few minutes so he can do it any way he wants. Clinton, episode 6 starts now. The floor is yours.
Going back, so I'm at the point to where now I've already had my breathing tube removed after, giving the doctors a little bit of a fight there. I've had the catheter removed, and now I'm awaiting what the doctors describe are the next steps. They told me these steps would take me a few weeks, that I may not get home to see my son for a few weeks. And yes, as I said, that was not acceptable at all. My son was, 7, 8, 9 months old at that time, and I just had enough. I didn't want to be away from him any longer. I missed him. I couldn't do it. Wouldn't do it. This is just a day or two after transplant, so ready to go home, ready to get back to life, sick of being in a hospital, sick of seeing the same 4 walls, the same nurses, doctors. I'm grateful for everything they want. I just want to go home. Nobody wants to be in a hospital for too long. Trust me, you don't want to be there more than 5 minutes. Morning comes, doctors come in, they do their rounds and stuff like that. Discuss how everything's looking. Everything's looking good so far. They're still adjusting things. At this point, one of the machines, I'm hooked up to several IVs for several different medications. A lot of the medications that they have you on that you're going to go home on, they start you through IV to get them into your system, get your body acclimated to them, and they can adjust the levels there, and then when it's time to go home, you'll come off the IVs or whatever. We'll get there. So they're still adjusting medications to see where they want what and what's okay for them. We're discussing how long. And again, like I said, a few weeks was unacceptable to me. So I push, and I'm like, well, what's the next step? And they're like, well, in another day or so, we'll hopefully get a physical therapist in here. We'll get you up. And, first we'll be able to get you up and stuff like that. And then maybe sitting in bed and moving your legs around because I've been immobile for several days. You're talking almost 4 days, 3-4 days now. Because I was immobile 3 days prior to transplant. Now we're all here talking about 2 days after. So about 5 days I've been immobile. So it's kind of like learning to walk all over again, I guess. So I'm like, okay. So the doctors leave. They come back a few hours later and explain to me that in very short time, a matter of minutes or so, a physical therapist would come in, and we would definitely start with sitting up and maybe swinging my legs around the bed. So I say, okay. Physical therapist comes in a few minutes later. We're talking. He introduces himself to me. He tells me how he's going to do things. And I'm just listening and going along with it. And he sits me up, which felt amazing at this point because I haven't actually been able to lift my body more than 35-degree angle in too long. I sit up. I feel great. We swing my legs around the side of the bed. And he's like, I just want you to kind of, like a kid sitting with his legs hanging off of the edge of a bridge or side of a wall. He's like, I want you to just dangle them, kick them back and forth and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay. I feel kind of silly, but okay, let's do this. So we do it, and I'm doing it probably about 5-10 minutes. And then he's like, okay, I think, that's where we'll leave off for today. And I'm like, excuse me? I don't think so. No way. Absolutely not. We're not. This is not how we're going to do this. I'll never make it home at this place. I'll be here for another year at this pace. So he's like, baby steps. It's been a while for you. You have to learn. Muscles have to be taught certain movements again. He's like, it's all memory. He's like, and yes, some of it is learned memory, and it'll come back to you like that. He's like, but you've been in bed for a few days now, and your muscles aren't as strong as they should be, or they were. And I'm like, okay.
Question. So how many days because I want to make sure that the viewers and myself are with you. How many days up until the point where you're now sitting up, dangling your feet, what has it been since you had the surgery?
Since the night of transplant, 2 days.
So it's 2 days after the transplant. They're now sitting you up. You want already to go home. So would you say that it's all mental at this point? In your mind, you're back to normal, but you're like the physical therapist just told you, you're not ready yet. But your mind is saying, I got through the hardest part. I want out.
Yes. So back to the last episode. One of the things I had spoken about, because we had spoken about a bunch of things, one of the things I mentioned in that episode was that a lot of what you do is going to be controlled by mental. Yes. So the mind over matter theory. So basically, it's like you see a person and the person says, oh, I think I'm getting a cold. And they rub their nose and then they sniffle and, they keep saying it and they keep saying, I think I'm getting sick. I think I'm getting sick. I think I'm getting sick. Now, after 3 or 4 days, they're sneezing, they're coughing and stuff like that. And they very well may be getting sick, but a lot of it is onset by your mental thinking and telling yourself, oh, I'm getting sick. You tell yourself you're tired, you're going to feel tired. If you tell yourself you can't do something, after a while, you're going to believe that you can't do it. If you tell yourself you don't want to do it, you don't want to do it. Then, you know what I mean? So for me, I don't know what gave me that push, but for me, the whole time it was, I can do this. I want to do this. I have to do this. I'm going home. So all the delay, and it's all the doctors and the nurses, everybody's just trying to be safe. So all the delay for me is just unacceptable because you're telling me I can't, and I'm telling you I can, and I'm going to, because in the whole time in my head, nothing has affected me. Yes, I've been in bed for a few days, but for me, it feels like just a few hours. And I'm driven, so I'm going to do it. It's anytime you want something and you get up and you go get it, you achieve that goal as long as you push for it. If you don't, what happens? You lose sight of the goal and the goal disappears and bam, that's it. So for me, that wasn't the case because I was not going to allow my son to slip away and spend months in recovery because I have seen it. I've heard stories from previous patients who have received transplants that's what happened to them. They spent months in the hospital of recovery. So my thinking of listening to their stories and how everything went is that, okay, if I stayed strong and I keep a positive mental attitude about it, that I'll be all right, and I'm going to go home very soon. So I did. I stayed strong. I stayed positive, and you'll hear. So yes, at this point now, I'm laying back in bed, at a 45-degree angle, and I'm spending time with family because now I'm in recovery, so now I can have as many family members as I want. I still have a lot of tubes. I have a pacemaker, which is used. So at this point now, the pacemaker's not there to save me. It's there to set the pace of the new heart, so that they can set it where they want it to beat, how many beats per minute, and stuff like that. Because as you know, not everybody knows. So as some of you may know and some of you may not, your resting heart rate is different in everybody. Specifics, I just know that at that point in my life, a resting heartbeat should be between 60 and 80 beats a minute or something like that. So they have a pacemaker, and the monitor says my heart is set at 100 beats a minute. And I'm saying, okay, that's a little high, but it's not the 160 I heard at diagnosis or when I was first admitted the first time. So I feel a lot better in all aspects. I feel brand new. I feel like, I went to a deep sleep and woke up refreshed, like a weight has been lifted off of my chest. I'm ready to run a marathon. So doctors come back in a few hours later. Now it's later in the day, probably like 3-4 o'clock. They're getting ready to go home, I'm assuming. So, they wanted to come and check on me and stuff like that. And I explained to them, that physical therapy was good, but I want more. It wasn't good enough for me. And the doctor's like, baby steps, we'll get there. So I kind of like, all right, I started to get a little discouraged, I guess. Doctors left. I spent the rest of the day. Nurses come in. They're checking, every so often, checking my vitals, doing their job, making sure that everything's good, and it is. Changing IV bags. I'm on fluids. I'm back to eating regular foods, regular whole foods. I can eat a sandwich if I want. I'm on a specific diet at this point. Low fat, low sodium diet, heart healthy diet. And again, I'm visiting with family. My mother's there, my wife, who at that time is my girlfriend, and I feel great. Night comes, do my usual routine, watch TV, fall asleep. Now, at this point, nurses and people, I'm going to pause the story for a minute because they're all getting to know the real me. I am a polar bear. I love the cold. So my hospital room is colder than those operating rooms. My mother has went out and bought me a fan. I got 2 fans going. The door closed. I told them to turn the heat all the way down, turn the AC all the way up. And I got this giant HEPA filter in the room because they have to have the air super pure for me. And it's just like my room is like the morgue. It's an ice box. So I sleep great. Everybody else is bundled up. I believe my mother was spending the night with me. The wife was coming home, going back and forth and stuff like that, so she could take care of the little man. Next morning comes, get up, have breakfast, do my routine. They come in, nurses come in, they wash me up, doctors come doing their rounds. Okay, so this is where we are. Everything's looking great. Numbers are phenomenal. The next steps are we have to watch. You have to go for a biopsy in a few days so that we can just look at everything and make sure everything inside is looking great. They check out my scar at this time. Now it's a scar. At that time, my wound, the incision. So they want to make sure it's healing properly. Everything looks good. Okay, so course of action is today, physical therapists will come in and kind of do the same thing we did yesterday. No, doc. No, we're not doing that. Today, we need to do a little bit more. I cannot just dangle my legs. This is not happening. I can do that in my sleep. I'm laying here in the bed moving my legs around. I feel I want to get up and go. So the doctor says, baby steps, baby steps. So about an hour after they leave from doing their rounds, physical therapist comes in and he's a wonderful guy. All right, so I'm here. This is what we're going to do. And I say, oh, come on, you got to work with me here. Give me a little more. I can't just dangle my legs. So he says, no, let me see. So I turn. I'm there. I'm dangling my legs. He checks my calves and stuff like that. He says, the muscles feel good. Let's try where I'll stand you up and I'll hold you. You'll sit down. And we'll do that once or twice. Let's try and see how that feels. So I said, okay. Now we're talking. Let's do this. So he stands me up. I'm like, looked at him like if he wasn't standing directly in front of me, I'd have took off. I'd have ran. I'm gone. But obviously, he's standing right in front of me. He's holding me by my waist and stuff like that. I felt great. The only thing that bothered me at that point was I have chest tubes. I have wires still, IV still in my neck, because it was easier to just keep those ports there because it's direct access for them to do what they need to do when it's time for the biopsy and stuff like that. Then inserting a new sheath and stuff like that. So this port is perfect. It's the right size. The artery is beautiful. It's just easier for them, so they leave it in. I got a pacemaker hanging around my neck and stuff like that. So there's a lot of wires and tubes and stuff like that. So it's not painful at all. It's just heavy, and I feel like I can feel the weight pulling on my chest. And I'm nervous, so I'm like kind of hunched over with it, like going with the pain, with the weight, so that I'm afraid something's gonna pull out, which it's not. So we do that, stand up, sit down, stand up, sit down. And I said, come on, I got this. You see? Like, let's do something else. And he's like, all right, I have some faith in you. You seem to know what you're talking about. Do it again. And this time I want you to take a few steps in place. So I said, all right, stand up, a few steps, sit back down. He says, how you feel? I said, I feel great. I want to do this. I can give you more, I promise you. If I don't feel right or something feels off, I'll let you know. So he says, okay, a few more times, and then we're going to call it for the day. I said, all right, you're doing better than most at this point. It's only been 2-3 days out. Actually, day 3. He says, so you're in a good position. Great. Stand up, a few steps in place. I think I'm taking like 7 or 8 steps. Sit back down for a few seconds, a minute or so. Stand up, do it again, repeat, wash, rinse, repeat, He leaves. I'll see you tomorrow. I got other patients to handle. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Have lunch, spend some time with some family and stuff like that. Doctors come in later that day, and they're, again, second round, checking things, looking at things, discussing things. At that point, the nurse practitioner, who is, her title is, she's a nurse practitioner, but she's the transplant coordinator. So she is the one who, after the doctor told me I was sick and I was only going to survive a few days and that they were putting me on the list, she's the one that actually made everything happen. She reached out to UNOS or Donate Life or whoever they use in my hospital at that time, and got my name put on the list, put where it needed to be on the list, and then she took care of everything else every step of the way. So she is who she's handling my meds. She's handling, along with the cardiologist, who is one of the doctors I'm seeing every day as well. They explained to me that they've spoken to the physical therapist, and he says I'm doing great. Everything looks great. Everything's just, he thinks that I'm ready to maybe do a little bit more, like standing a little bit longer, walking in place a little bit longer, stuff like that. Maybe getting up out of bed and getting into the chair or something like that, of that nature. So they tell me, in the morning, we'll see how everything is, and we'll go from there. So, okay, have a wonderful day. I spend the rest of the day with family. I had some friends come and visit. Again, same routine. Nurses in and out all night, all evening, all night. Next morning, get up, same routine. Wash up, they come in, they clean me up, eat breakfast, meds, this, that. Now at this point, my meds are changing from IV meds to actual pill form. So there's a plus for me. I'm getting IVs removed. Not really, not the port removed, but the wires are coming off, and I'm no longer taking this medication by IV. I no longer need fluids. My anti-rejection medications are now by IV, are no longer by IV. They're by pill form.
So I have a question. So
Sure.
up until this point, just at a percentage, if you were at 100% filled with wires and they have removed some of those wires, what percentage would you say you had left attached?
I'm going to say about 30% left.
So about
Over
70%
the
of it
course,
is gone.
yes, over the course of the 4 days, they've removed about 70% of the wires. Yes,
And during the
that's
course
accurate.
of the baby steps and all the things you were doing, you never at any point in time, up until what you discussed, because I don't know the rest of the story, but up until the point where you've been doing things and asking for more, you never experienced any tiredness. You just felt that drive.
Never, not once, not any exhaustion, none whatsoever. I definitely felt when the doctors asked me how I feel, I definitely felt like a kid again.
That's awesome.
Next morning, okay, they're doing rounds. Everything's great. I'm like, all right, we're going to take some more steps. Hopefully, we'll get you into a chair. So I'm like, all right, cool. So, physical therapist comes in, and I'm with, at this point, I believe it's my mother and my wife. I know it's definitely my wife, but I'm almost positive my mom, I'm 99.9% positive my mother was there too. It's been 15 and a half years. So exactly who's with me when is a little foggy. I got most of it. Um, so physical therapist comes in. Okay, this is what we're gonna do. This is how we're gonna do it. All right, cool. So we start off because it's been a full 24 hours. He wants to just walk a few steps in place before trying to get me into a chair. Luckily for me, I was able to I had a goal and I was able to reach it this day. And this was the day for me because the doctors hadn't left my unit yet. The unit I was on, the recovery unit, they hadn't gotten too far by the time the physical therapist got there. Usually they were on another floor or something like that. They were still on my floor, just rooms away, doing, their rounds on another patient. And he gets me up out of the bed. We walk in place a few times and we get into the chair and I'm like, I can't do this. I need more. So I start to give him a little bit of a hard time. And, I felt bad and I apologized for it. But again, my drive wasn't allowing, I'm getting frustrated and antsy because I know in my heart and my mind and everything in me is telling me, you can do this. You should be home by now. Your little boy is waiting for you. So I that's it. I'm done. I can't do this no more. I have to walk. I need to get out of this room. And he's like, no, 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 no. Get the doctor. No, 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 no. Get the doctor here now. So they come back. And I said to the nurse practitioner, she's my heart. I love her to death. I said, I can't stay in this room. I need out. Just moving from the bed to here is not good enough for me. I need out. I want out. You have to let me out. She says, can you do it? I said, I can. I have to walk. This is not acceptable for me. I need to do more. And she says, are you sure? And I said, I got this. I can do it. And I'm going to do it. And she again asked me if I was sure. And I said, yes, I know I can do this. I have to do it. I just need you to let me do it. And she was like, okay.
And that is where we're going to stop. I know what you're thinking, folks. God, Angel, why do you do this to us? Well, it's not my story to tell. Clinton continues to inspire us and inspire me. His drive, his will, his determination. his fuel to get back to his son, his energy that God has provided him. And I will use the word God for the first time in this series because I believe that was the driving force. That's my opinion. I don't want to answer for him. We'll get there when we get there, and he'll answer that on his own. But on my end, I believe something is driving him. And of course, we can go back to the episode where he was visited by his cousin.
Yes.
And we can remember that was not an accident. So we say the following: fueling hope, one life at a time. Follow your heart. Always trust your judgment. And sometimes we do have to say, yes, we can. We'll see you next week.
Hey, Have Faith family. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the podcast with your friends. Visit our website, havefaithletitbegin.com. We would love to hear your feedback.
The Virginia Lottery has 3 new Let's Make a Deal games: a print and play, a scratcher, and an online game. Play the game show for yourself today. Visit VALottery.com/deal. Let's Make a Deal, licensed by Fremantle, all rights reserved.